Welcome back to the Intel Esports Arena for what is sure to be an action-packed last week of Counter-Strike Global Offensive here at the ESL Pro League. My name is Trace Renegades, and I will be your host. Before we go much further, though, the playoff race is on, and 7 teams vying for 4 spots is exactly where we stand. Let's take a look at the standings overall. You'll see Liquid and Energy have both secured spots, punching their tickets down to the Dallas event, followed by, well, just a plethora of teams also trying to join them there, enjoying sweet tea and all things that are barbecue and delicious. Now, to go forward, we have constructed a little piece here where I put my companions, of course, to my right and my left, no particular order of favorites, who they think will be finding their way into those last... You are technically on my right side. Yes. Yeah, so anyway, Harry, we'll start with you. Tell me a little bit about, or better yet, who you have going down to Dallas.
Yeah, I've got Renegades over in third. I'll quickly show off the old list. I don't actually know which camera
is that. A space between Cloud and 9?
Yeah.
All right, next victim. Let's go ahead and move on to Jason Moses O'Toole. Jason, who do you have going on to Pro League?
I've got probably similar teams. Yeah, same teams, but my order is much better. It's much cleaner. Cloud9's up there in third.
SK Gaming.
Yeah, they're gonna be in 6th.
Okay.
They're gonna make it. They're gonna squeak in there.
I'm not saying they're not.
And then, sorry. And then Renegades, the big one is they've already, they've played 20 of the 22 games here. They don't have a lot of chances to, get above these other guys. So you've really made a blunder there, as Harry would say.
They've still got Dignitas, Rogue, and SK to play. So, I mean, they've still got quite a few chances.
Is it me who's made the blunder? Is it Optic, you may only have 2 games left? Listen, let's move along.
Let's just keep the show moving here, Jason. We've got all night to debate the things that you think are right and wrong, and that's for another time for the most part. Let's go ahead and switch over now to my left and see where these 2 studly gentlemen stand at the last part of going to Pro League. Halvor, very quickly, let's see what you got.
I mean, I'm following in Jason's footsteps. Smart man, can't go against his choices. And again, he didn't make a blunder. He does have the right amount of games left for SK, and they're not going to climb any further.
How about that? What about Mr. Pimp?
I have the same teams, but I have a little surprise for you guys.
My God.
It's the insanity pick right there.
What's with the smiley face, man?
I don't need to explain this, because I think it's going to happen, and you know it's going to happen. And I would bet on it right now.
Oh, well, it just might happen.
Yeah.
Go toe-to-toe with him now. We talked about flashiness. Can use the flash here. He does it again.
www.proleague.com/Dallas is exactly where you can buy your ticket to go to those finals in the great state of Texas. I don't know, something just fell. It might have been my brain. But regardless, Dallas, Texas is the place that all these teams want to be. And of course, going there is going to be so far the biggest challenge, probably on most all of their minds, on the eve of IEM Sydney, of course.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. I mean, this is the grand slam, really, of tournaments in many ways. It's where the best of both regions get together. And I mean, not just the NA and EU regions, but we're also going to have some highlights from Asia and South America as well. So that should be really fun. But yeah, obviously, still a lot of teams, actually way more teams in contention for playoff spots at this point than what I initially imagined. I thought it would have been a bit more clear-cut at this point, especially some of the teams that we do have in fight for these spots, like Cloud9, SK, would have imagined they would have secured their spots by now, but it does build up for a pretty exciting final week.
This is the final week, Pimp. I can just see the little bit of smirk on his face, and it is bittersweet, Pimp. I'm going to agree with you. It is one of those things. But today's schedule is the beginning of what exactly these teams need to be looking out for. Rogue and Renegades kick us off. Optic, Dignitas, could be a landslide. A lot of interesting stuff going on around there that we're going to talk about. And Ghost, Luminosity. Now, of course, Dignitas and Ghost not exactly playing for Pro League final spots, but they are playing for a little bit of a lifeline here.
Yeah, and I mean, it would be a nice way to kind of cap off the season. I guess, the standings isn't necessarily 100% reflected on what they've showed, at least from, week 3 and out, in my opinion. So they could still, I guess, if they, split the series with Luminosity 1-1, they can kind of come out of the season with their heads held high.
They could be the one ruining it for SK Gaming.
They could be the ones.
That's true.
To really mess up the whole flow of all of it right there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the EU side of the standings, because a lot of these teams, actually 6 to be exact, have punched their ticket Talk to me about what you see.
I mean, it's quite interesting to see that we have FaZe Clan not only just securing the spot today. Now, there's, as you see on your screen, 5 teams fighting for 1 spot in Europe. They get 7 spots towards the finals in Dallas, and there's currently 5 teams who can reach that, Fnatic being one of them, which is a big surprise that they haven't been able to clinch their spot after winning Pro League last season, the online stages of the European season. Looking even better now this season on LAN events and in all tournaments they're participating in, and not making it as we see right now. That's a big problem for them.
What about the NA side of things, Halvor? Talk to me a little bit about this. Liquid Energy having, their flights already set in stone.
Yeah, no, they've booked their tickets, probably upgraded as well. They've had time to think things over because they were very early on to qualify for Dallas, which is really nice for them. They get to prepare as much as you like, and also the benefits of the seedings as well. But yeah, it's the lower end of it that's really exciting to me. SK Gaming sitting just inside the playoff range as of right now, but they still have Luminosity and so on, and Rogue is in there as well. Complexity too, still being able to potentially trip them up and actually keep them out of going to the finals.
Well, you say Rogue, and we will be watching a match with them firstly tonight against the Renegades. But there's one man on Rogue that we are actually going to dive into and get a little bit deeper with, I think is the most appropriate way to put that. Or maybe not, who knows. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Cadian, and, well, let's just take a look.
The Danish CSGO scene is undeniably strong, and it has fostered several of the world's biggest talents within the world of Counter-Strike. Most of them tend to stick together as a team using the power of communication to their advantage. One young talent, Casper Cadian Mahler, has broken that tradition and has found his place in the North American region on the English-speaking team Rogue.
Yeah, Cadian comes rotating round the bit of Danish representation that we have in this roster. You can almost feel just Pip looking on, hoping he can clutch this one out. Time's ticking down. Cadian has to push in quite fast. He doesn't have the kit to work with. Easy, going to get spotted out. Cadian will find it, and that is going to be a 6th round for Rogue.
In fact, he is the only non-North American player on the team. That also includes players GMD, Sick, Vice, and Hiko. Cadian started playing professionally on the Scandinavian team Sapso in 2013 when he was only 18 years old. Since then, he has played for multiple well-known esports organizations, including Mouse Sports, Copenhagen Wolves, and SK Gaming. In August 2016, Cadian signed with Rogue and moved to the United States. Except for a 4-month break from May to September last year, Cadian has been a part of Rogue ever since, and today he lives in Las Vegas, Nevada, where he and his team have their base. Cadian is the in-game leader and main op on Rogue, and has been a major factor in securing this season in the Pro League after playing relegation matches back in January.
And there it is! Rogue will be moving into the next season of ESL Pro League, as you can hear the celebratory woos and wows.
And if he and the rest of Rogue can really step up their game in this last week, they're still in the running for the finals in Dallas.
Cadian, a player that has been on the radar for some time now, not exactly finding himself always at the very tip top of the talent pack that is the teams across Global Offensive, but a former teammate of yours, Pimp. Can you, I guess, go into a little bit further detail about Cadian?
Yeah, I mean, he's a Danish guy who's been playing Counter-Strike for quite some time. I sort of like grew up with him, started playing around the same time as he did. Obviously went a lot further in my career in the beginning than he did, no offense taken. He's still playing, and he's still trying to break through the scene, you can say so. And that's why he left Denmark and now is playing in Rogue over in Northern America, where he's trying to sort of like make his little breakthrough. He's been on some decent teams in Denmark, done some marriage, been standing in for TSM when they were nowadays Astralis, but when they were a good team back then, been standing in for Heroic, helping them qualifying for tournaments, but never really secured a fast spot on any of the teams. So he's now in Rogue trying to, manifest himself as a great player and hopefully, building up a name that he can live off in the future. He's a guy who can do a lot of stuff. You see it on the screen right now. There's 3 points, and I can take the first one. You can follow up after one. He can AVP first of all. Cadian is an AVP player, and he's pretty good at it. He's been doing some work with the orb throughout this season, as you see on your screen right now. And his style with AVP is not flashy. It's more like a conservative, whereas he's the in-game leader as well, so he can call as well. It's also on your screen. So he's standing a little bit back, calling the troops from the back lines, and then following up, being like the support player, coming in, clinching in the clutches, and being like a smart player, a typical Dane player. Then he can also rifle Halvor.
Yeah, no, he definitely is, and that is something that you don't see, I guess, too much of anymore. You normally have, I guess, more specialized players in that sense. But Cadian is one of those, I guess, triple threats in that sense. That not only can up, but yeah, rifle as well. And obviously that adds to his flexibility. We've talked way too many, especially in the North American region, of players who are just too one-dimensional.
Yeah.
It's simply a case of, if they don't have weapon X in their hands, they're not going to be a contributing factor.
JDM is a great example of that.
Exactly. So obviously, the more strings you have to play off of, the stronger of a player you're going to be overall, and the easier it's going to be to actually utilize, or utilize yourself, or actually be put into situations where you can actually do some work. So maybe, if you're playing, as a stand-in, as you mentioned, that's probably one of the reasons why he gets brought into a lot of these teams, as a temporary stand-in. The fact that you're going to plop him in anywhere, and he's going to do all right for himself. He's not necessarily going to be the guy who's, like, if he comes to TSM, he's going to like, well, if he doesn't get to op, then, he's not going to do anything. So device, you're going to have to give it up. That's not the case. He can still, wield and do damage with the rifle, and I think that's an extremely valuable asset to have.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And it's an interesting story with this guy because, as said, he's been playing ever since I started playing as well, and he hasn't really broke through yet. It's one of those guys who's been in and around the scene for so long, always been in the peripheral, where he's been playing on a top 20 team or top 25 team. Now Rogue these days, not even a top 30 team, I would say, in the world, struggling to find the rhythm right now. So he's really trying, and he's working hard for it. And it's one of those cases where you really want him to succeed because maybe the talent is not as big as, as a player like Device or Nico for that matter, but the work ethic and the passion for the game is definitely up there, and that's always something you can admire, Trace.
It is something that I can admire. In fact, I can applaud it even more so than that. Also, I can applaud this Australian, sort of not so much Australian lineup anymore in the Renegades. Now, this team has come a long way since the past summer. We saw them have success in the Star Ladder, Star Series, I think it was Season 4. Or maybe it's Season 3. Well, they found success there. They ended up winning the tournament, of course, over there in Shanghai. But now I don't know. What else can we say about this team?
I mean, we can say that, we're still waiting for them to take the next step, because if this is going to be their plateau, then in many ways it's the same Renegades as before. They have the players to actually have, bigger impact than what they're showing, on a consistent level. You get excited when they get better, only to be disappointed, and you don't want that to be like a continuous cycle, and that to be the topic that you bring up every time you talk about Renegades, that they're not fulfilling what you see in the players, or what they could potentially do as a team as a whole. I think they do stand a little bit stronger. I still have faith in this Renegades team. I do think they've been playing well. I think DreamHawk Marseille wasn't necessarily the best showing that they could have had, but again, they're going to have more opportunities because they've been playing better just on a basic level, right? Like, they're not as inconsistent anymore. They've been doing well in Pro League, so they're going to have more chances to actually go to tournaments and not just, I guess, the mid-tier tournaments, but the big ones to kind of get there.
Such as DreamHack Masters Marseille. We can dive a little bit further into that. Of course, the maps we will be seeing these two teams square off right away will be Cbble and then Mirage. Really quickly, in roughly under 45 seconds, who do we have in this one, Halvor?
I got Renegades winning 2-0. They have an excellent chance to increase, or better their seeding as we get into playoff week. And I think they're going to take that and just chomp at the bits to do well, especially kind of redeeming themselves for a not perfect showing in France.
I briefly talked to KDM before this matchup, and he told me that they were very confident that they could at least pick one map against Renegades. They need both. We just talked about it. Rogue needs to win 2-0 in order to have a chance of qualifying. So I'm not going to give it to him. I think it's going to be a 1-1, but I think Rogue have a great chance of at least stealing one map, and I hope it's going to be the first one, so we're going to get a top-motivated Rogue going into the second matchup.
A top-motivated Rogue. Man, that just sounds like an intimidating factor all by itself. Or not. But either way, to bring us that action will be our commentary duo. On my right side, they gave us their input earlier as to who they thought was going to be going to the Pro League Finals. Don't know how much weight we put behind your guys' predictions.
We always ignore them.
Jason's was 100% correct, so you can definitely put weight into that.
Jason is old.
Yeah.
How
about them apples? Trace.
All right, calm down.
Who'd you got on your little card?
Let's see.
They didn't even give you a chance to have an opinion, did they?
Here's my opinion. I've got Test. We're going to be going into Cobblestone. Harry, will you please walk us into this one with the training wheels off?
Gladly, Trace. We don't call it. We call them stabilizers in the UK because they keep you stable. There we go. How's that, Jason? Did you know that little knowledge for you?
I didn't want to know that, actually. I have no desire to learn that fact.
Well,
the
I
nice
just
thing
forced
about
learning on you.
Yeah, the nice thing about this match, Harry, is that everybody wins, because this could be one of the last times we ever see Cobble played.
Yeah, I'm pretty sad about that. I actually really like Cobblestone. I know you don't, Jason. I know you're probably over the moon that it was the one that got the axe. But, there's only one map for me that's better than Cobble, and that is Canals. So when's that going to go in Valve?
What actually is wrong with you?
Have you actually played any Canals, Jason? It is so good. It is so good. I promise you that. When it gets added to the map rotation in a few months' time, just before the major, It will be fantastic. But, yeah, we're already getting into this one. In my opinion, this is going to be... I think this is a 2-0 that Renegades have to pick up. This is why I put them going third. Just because when you look at who they have left to play, Rogue and Dignitas are two of those teams. They're going to be going out through mid and through long. Azza leading the charge. Going to go to do damage onto Vice. Sends him back. Sends him running. And Bomb Plant will come in for Renegades. It's going to be 5-on-5 in the retake. So this is a pretty difficult round if you're Rogue. I do think Rogue are going to pose probably one of the bigger challenges that Renegades will face in their upcoming games.
Well, we'll see how the retake goes. There's a lot of time that's used off the clock while they wait for these flanks to come in, so they better get some results. And actually, GMD and Cadian are both taking their own isolated fights on these flanks, and it's not gone well at all. All the kills heading towards Renegades, and now the crossfires come in to have their impact, and there's no entrance for Rogue onto the bomb site. So it will be the pistol round going in the favor of Renegades, and getting a good start onto their two-match set here tonight as they want to clinch this spot for the playoffs. So, well done to them.
Yeah, now one thing I think it's important to note is that Cadian from Rogue tweeted that he's feeling pretty ill heading into this, which is never good. I think, you know, he's one of the big players in this roster.
He also tweeted, like, if we win one map, we're so very close to making the playoffs, which is just funny to me for some reason. It's like, yeah, he does feel ill. So we'll stick to that point. We'll stick to your point there, Harry. I'm just laughing at internally at things.
I'd love to see a team like, one of the teams that everyone's kind of counted out actually make it through. I think Rogue are one of the ones who definitely could. For me, it's them or Luminosity if you're going to be looking at a dark horse. And into this round anyway, here he is, the man who was looking pretty sick heading into this. He's going to get tacked up early on, 29 HP on Cadian. Renegades, meanwhile, going to be sending Nifty in through long with the UMP. He's going to spy out Vice, and while you suspect the crossfire, Hiko lying in wait. They're walking out, and Hiko's able to go ahead and find the first.
Look at this, running him down as well. You still are going to lead the way, and Hiko's at 3 HP. He goes down without a whimper, and that's a nice double kill. And yeah, it's going to be difficult for Rogue to make anything happen out of this. A nice parting gift for Cadian, and Sick isn't really going to have a chance to have too much impact. Now the smoke is going to plume as well. He's got to jump out through it and make his play very quickly. They know where he is, so there he goes as they turn the corner. 2-0 for the Renegades, starting out on this offensive side of Cbble. And now Rogue will have to sit back onto the pistols. So yeah, I mean, there is a chance, and I guess this is one of those teams that you would say is has a better chance of making the playoffs, or of like the underdogs to make it all the way into the top 6, but it's certainly not looking likely. They're in that position of the season where you'd have to hope and pray for a near miracle. Also, I mean, kind of wild to think about. That Luminosity team, as you mentioned, is kind of the other underdog. They just had some roster changes as well. So the whole like North American scene is just in a state of upheaval with these roster changes. We saw both the teams kind of fall flat in Marseille, Cloud9 and Liquid. I think underperformed to expectations. But you know, the whole scene's going to be recovering just a little bit. And that Luminosity one will be kind of the next roster change to keep your eye on how their impact changes.
It feels like all of CS is in some weird state where everything's kind of slowly recovering, because a lot of the teams now have kind of looked very, very turbulent, but maybe we're starting to see some consistency come out. I think Astralis is definitely one that you have to talk about there within the EU region, just because for the longest time they were kind of not to say like written off, but they definitely weren't as strong as they were, right? And now suddenly they're having a fantastic showing of things once again.
They looked very frightening in France. That was an incredible showing, and yeah, some of it's probably to do with some of their opposition kind of being in that state of limbo as well, where they're not quite at their peak shape. But at the same time, you can't mess with the results and how good they looked on the eye test. Here's Renegades right through the smoke in towards drop. GMD's going to get a little bit surprised by it. Can't fall all the way out, but there's actually no one watching for a split towards this A bomb site. And now the defenders over at B are just straight up locked out of the bomb site. JKS is going to catch Vice with a nade in his hands as he was hoping to react. And Jacob's going to be able to not cut anyone off. And actually, good hold from Hiko as well. So some damage is being done. There's a time limit on Hiko's life, though, and there it is. Bomb still not planted as Nifty has to make his way up long, but Azza, the shadow's been spotted by Sick, and he wants to go for this fight, but he can't see any part of the body. Gonna slide in and right to his death. Double kill for Azza, and that ends the round.
That is just like one of the real disheartening moments if you are Rogue. You know, they know that Azza's there, that they think this is like a guaranteed kill, and that's your way back into the retake, and somehow he's able to go and find both of you. So 4-0 for Renegades early on over on this T side. They were a team that, in my opinion, have always been pretty good on Cobblestone. Definitely kind of saw them drop off a bit when NAF left, but I do think they've recovered now. Sad to say, you know, this map being removed. I think that I think whenever you had two teams that are very, very good at Cobble, I always loved watching it. But yeah, RIP Cobblestone, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I'm so happy.
I knew you would be when the news came out and Dust 2 is added. I don't even think it's about the map that gets added in with you, Jason. It's just that Cobble's out. That was the real silver lining.
Yeah, no, it could have been pretty much anything except for Canals. Would have been happy. Could have had a Tuscan, Mill, Fire.
Just okay, right. What I'm gonna go ahead and give an estimate and say like February 2018. 2019. What year is it now?
February 2018 is already coming.
Yeah, February 2019. That is when Canals is added.
Okay.
I think it's in the period. Remember how they had to kind of shoehorn in overpassing Cobble?
Yes.
Because they were just like not very good at first, and no one really wanted to play it. Like, remember how just awful the B bomb site was on this map? Oh, but yeah, I think that's where Canals is right now. It's nowhere near good, but it's got potential.
Okay.
But into this round, Cadian has that AK. He was able to carry forward from the previous. Where's he playing? He's over here towards SA bomb site. Actually to be pushing through long along with Vice. I'm going to try and take the fight to JKS, who does manage to batten down the hatches. He finds himself the first. Cadian's still here. And Cadian's going to fall as well. So JKS walks away with a double. He's going to be feeling happy about that. And now Nifty leading the offensive. He's going to be the spearhead to this A take with the rest of the team falling in tow. The A bomb site is open with GMD and Hiko now both rotating into connector.
Well, they're going to do their best. AK's already been taken away, and actually they're doing not a bad job as GMD builds up on Azza. It's a 2-on-3. Likelihood of winning this is not much, especially as the flank comes in, and JKS isn't going to let that even have to have an impact. He's going to clean the last two out real nice and easy. 5-0 in the favor of Renegades as they're starting to pile it on this T side. Azza at 9-2, JKS 7-2, leading the way. And now for Rogue, this is where the losing bonus has fully built up. So, I mean, you got to start winning at some point. This is when they have all the utility, the smokes, the Molotov. They have some kits they can play with, and more importantly, they have an AWP on Cadian. It's on that 3-man heading over towards the B bomb site. He's looking for a boost. We'll see if he can pick anyone off. It'd be Jacob that would go. Actually, he's boosting GMD, so it's the other way around, and we'll see Jacob's going to check that. Shoulder peeks it and just falls back ever so slightly. Jacob checking the corner and an easy headshot onto GMD, and actually all of Rogue is taking a lot of damage as they run into each other through the smoke.
As is going to try and peek out from mid. He will be flashed back, and Rogue with 3 players over here on A. They're going to attempt to boost up Vice. This is very risky, but he's able to get into position. He needs Hiko now to try and stay around long. Otherwise, he does find himself in a very, very tricky spot. That smoke is going to miss, and they're just going to start to force their way through the long angle. Hiko gets spotted out, and Vice isn't able to find anything in mid. It's Cadian to pick it up now. He has to drop down. Still is going to try and take the fight with Vice. He wins it out, but Cadian's not done yet. Second kill. Before he gets finished off, JKS and Nifty left 2 versus 1 in the retake, and Sick. So all eyes onto him. He was kind of the up-and-coming prospect for a while in this NA region. I mean, now he'd have to step up massively to try and get Rogue their first CT side round, and the timing's just not there. Nifty's going to be able to find the head. And Renegades on it to their 6th. Just like that, Rogue kind of put down in the dumps that much more. That they can partial buy every round because of the loss bonus, but it still is not a very good spot to be in whatsoever. Just kind of brought to their knees by this economy issue.
Yeah, unfortunately on the CT side, even when you have a full losing bonus, you can't go into that buy every round like you can on the T side, right? You need a little bit more because you need the nades, the weapons are more expensive, you need the kit, which you don't have to worry about. So it's more of a situation where instead of buying every round, they'll have to, go for this half investment. You can see CZ, armor, some flashbangs, a smoke, see if they can delay long enough, see if they can get a pop flash in. This is going to be tough for them to recover from. Pretty big hole, although despite that, Nifty's got 13,000, but everyone else on Renegades only really has, 1 round buffer. It's not like they've built up too much. This Molotov is huge. The timing of it, there's the jump up. Cadian somehow lands the jumping shot, and I think that Molotov actually just went past him, so dangerous times for Renegades. Down a player now. They still do have GMD trapped in here, and that's going to be checked by Ustilo. He's got to do it quick before the Molotov timing runs out, and actually doesn't even want to commit. Renegades is going to head back towards A. The boost coming in again, and Ustilo's got to be careful. I think he just spotted it right at the last moment, but he's got the intel that 2 players are there, which is going to tell his teammates to kind of hustle up.
Yeah, that's, as you said, it's kind of allowed the rest of the gang to start to aggress out through mid. The one issue is they've gone right by Hiko, and Vice is going to further make matters worse. Jacob's able to trade, but they're not ready for Hiko. Hiko could do it all right now, but he misses the spray, and Jacob's going to find him. That is a massive misplay from Hiko as he just whiffs those shots, and as he dropped the bomb there, it could have been a very, very easy round for Rogue. I mean, they do still have the man advantage, but things aren't going to go their way easy. Cadian's dropped the bomb out in the open. It's Nifty 1v3. They're just going to triple peek into it. Rogue, they find their first round on the back of the CZs. And, I mean, there we go. What more can you say about that? It was a jumping shot early on from Cadian with the pocket AK that actually started things off. And from then on in, the rest of Rogue just kind of follow suit.
We should have known it was going to be a CZ round that would turn in their favor. They get Rogue the first one on the board. Everything was looking so good for Renegades. Yeah, and I think that's the major. That round is like the major frustration with the CZ, right? Is the ability to get shots like that just aren't possible with the rifles that can swing things in your favor again. So we'll see. Now, I mean, it's nice for Rogue. They win a round like that, and you can see they salvaged 3 AK-47s. So they have 3 players with plenty of money. But they still need to be able to build upon this. But it's nice to say that even if they lose this one, they can have another buy in the next round because of that. It looks like Renegades went back and called pretty much the same strategy as last time, as they didn't really get to try and pull it off. Those CZs stopped them before they can move forward. And Oz is going to lead the way and drop, and he just, I think it looks like almost 6 spotted him. He's very, very cautious of a peek from this angle.
JKS still making noise over here at A. The question is, does it kind of transpire out of more than just noise? He is going to be spearheading this offensive up through mid. Ustilo's down in drop. He has to be careful because there is a man there in the form of GMD. Vice going to go out and win out the fight in mid versus JKS. And Renegades, their hands now kind of tied behind their back as they're forced into this B offensive. Was not the plan, but they kind of lose any presence over towards that A bomb site. Now they're forced to switch things up. Throw out the one smoke they've got. Flash goes in. Sick behind the rock. He's going to go to drop one along with Cadian. It is just Nifty. 1v5, 20 seconds left. Wants to think about staying alive at this point. He has got the AWP. He could drop an AK. And they could get like a little bit of a force going up behind this.
It will be interesting to see if they decide to. I'm not sure if they will, but yeah, he can drop an AK. The tough part is that the losing bonus isn't going to be that great for Renegades. So they're not, the other teammates won't have a lot of money, even with that dropped rifle over to someone. Ozza can get an AK. Jake, I mean, maybe they'll do it because you can get a couple players with pistols and utility. So it's right on the verge of what's kind of acceptable. And he is going to drop that. So another investment coming in for Renegades. But all 5 players for Rogue that round surviving means they are going to be so rich. 2 players right around 62, 6,300. Cadian at 7,100. Yeah, a lot of money building up on this defensive side. So dark timeline for Renegades.
Nice shot from Nifty, though. He's able to open up. And he spots Hiko falling back at long. They know they've got a man isolated here. They can hear him running backward into the site. And JKS is going to go hunting. JKS picks it up. Jacob, in the meantime, going to go to find GMD. And suddenly this round was all over for Rogue. Unless they, unless Renegades give something up, perhaps by trying to push into the waiting arms of Sick, then maybe we see them try this. But no, Sick only getting one. That's not enough to tempt them back into it. They will just go ahead and save. They can buy up in the next round anyway. But Renegades going to find themselves a 7th. Up 7-2. It was a nice change of pace in that round. Much faster over towards A than the slower sort of default that we've been used to seeing from this T side.
Yeah, it was a really nice switch up for Renegades. Keeping it simple, getting that one opening pick with the AWP, and then moving yourself, hustling up that mid ramp, because you know at that stage in the round, most teams still have 3 players over towards B. They haven't cheated anyone back. No one's kind of thinking about the rotate over towards that A bomb site. So you catch a really awkward timing where there's no actual defense being mounted when you're on the ramp. You have to worry about one player coming long, and you can isolate him pretty easily with smokes over towards the other choke points, which is exactly what Renegades did. Catching Rogue off guard. The lead builds to 5. But because of all that money that was made by Rogue in their 2 wins, remember they win an eco and 5 players survive on the ensuing round. They have so much cash built up. They can afford this double up setup from Sick and Katie. And so next challenge for Renegades has arrived.
Looking like it might be more of the same. Nifty leads the charge out from mid. Spots Hiko at long, but are they ready for Vice, who holds it close? Vice going to go out and find himself 2, maybe a 3rd, but no. Azza in a position to trade. 3 versus 3. And Cadian still over here at long. He's the unknown factor. He's the man that can make all the difference right now. They've got no idea. They think they've cleared out long, and Cadian comes creeping forward from the shadows. He doesn't spot the man in the sight. That was Azza getting the bomb down. That could have made a massive difference, but now they know. They know that Cadian's here. They know that there's a thorn in their side. It's a 1v1, a JKS versus Cadian. Flash goes over, and JKS wins the fight. 3 kills from him, and Renegade's going to go up 8-2. Fantastic stuff from them. Rogue now in a bit of a kind of difficult scenario in terms of that economy. Hiko can't afford. A couple of players could go for Famises, but I think maybe you just partial buy. The CZ is so strong right now. That's kind of what we've come to expect in a lot of these situations. You don't really see, like these kind of cobbled together buys with the Famises, with the UMPs anymore. It's all about the CZ. Jason, how would you balance that gun? There you go. I'll just put you on blast for this.
At this point, I think you have to make it more expensive. You increase its price. I think it's really hard to tinker with it in terms of, keeping it viable while also, nerfing it a little bit. So I think you just have to make it more expensive. I mean, it's just too cheap. A $300 weapon that can do so much. So, yeah, I think you increase the price tag.
Yeah, I could
maybe even actually, I wouldn't even mind if they did something where they put it in the same slot as the Deagle. I think that'd be kind of interesting if they wanted to go that route, so that you have an option. You make them both 800, and then you have an option for a close range and an option for a distance, right?
Oh, I like that idea. That's a nice one, Jason. That is good. And then just the R8 is there, is like the.
Yeah, as the ugly stepchild, but I mean you can still that gun's
God,
fun.
It is the the good, the bad, and the ugly, the Deeg, the CZ, and the R8. But yeah, I mean I think that could definitely work. We got 4 CZs right now and 1 Deeg. It'd be very interesting to see how the dynamic obviously switched up if they do come to make some changes. But then again, I've heard the Negev looks tempting to tweak this time of year, maybe the M249. I know a lot of pros have been asking for that.
Yeah, why not? Let's do it. I like the auto shotgun. I like that gun's been being used.
Yeah, no, I've been a big fan of that. Who was it? It was I think it was like Oscar really leading the resurgence of it, right?
I mean, it's been used a couple times in the past. Like JW started using the shotguns, not really the auto shotgun. Hiko used to use the shotgun back in like 2014 and 15. This is a really close round. It came down to the wire, didn't it? As the bomb gets planted with about 5 seconds left. I don't know why Renegades decided to take so much of their time scouting out the other bomb site, but still a bit risky, leaving it towards that. They're going to get the bomb planted. They have given up an AK-47, which isn't a huge deal because there was going to be another purchase, but it is quite nice for someone like Hiko. who's stuck at $1,800. He's going to need a rifle. I'll drop one of those over. Cadian will be able to drop his and get the AWP. So it's going to be a very solid buy. Nice job with the economy in these past few rounds from Rogue. They're going to get rewarded with a really good chance to turn their fortunes around.
Chance to find massive damage at the end. Don't want to give up one of these rifles, but they're doing so much with it. They find everyone. There would have been an AWP there as well. That was massive from GMD and Cadian. It's just helped to kind of nullify that buffer that Renegades had started to build up. Tactical timeout called in from Renegades. I think that's a good reason behind it. They might have won the round. But, I mean, you know, they have three... It was like, what? They had 8 seconds to get the bomb down by the time they get into the A bomb site. They spent so much time sort of, you know, clearing the sites. There's nothing wrong with being that methodical, but it loses them every single player. You know, to only CZ. So that's a pretty devastating blow. Probably the worst way you could win a round.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good. I mean, down the T side, obviously, you can handle it a little bit better. But yeah, it is kind of that nightmare scenario where if you lose this as Renegades, then because Rogue took all those weapons away from you, you don't have the money to keep buying. So, gives Rogue a chance to get back into the game and have a pretty respectable first half. 2-9. We'll see. As we mentioned, or as you mentioned, I believe it was, Rogue needs to win both of their games tonight against Renegades to still have a chance of making it to Dallas, so big implications for them.
Here's Ustilo leading the charge. He's going to be going in with the MAC-10. He's already down and through connector. They're not ready for this. He's a speed demon. Oh, but he goes very, very good. 2 big kills. And he sent them turning back. I love the change in direction there from Jacob as he tries now to fight back. He's got so many kills to find. Nifty's pushing in through long. Hiko's going to be very happy with that double kill. He's completely shut them out of this round. Jacob's been found, and now it's just Nifty. Vice going to go ahead and execute him, and that was clean cut from the outset. Renegades try and change the pace. They try and mix things up. I like the idea. I like the fast play down into connector, but this from Hiko was just fantastic. That spray transfer to the second man. And suddenly a third round for Rogue. And, I mean, this is where, you know, we were just talking about it. That previous round where they lose everyone at the end while they're trying to get out with 3 players alive. Now it's come back to punish them. If you had... You know, those rifles here, you would have been able to kind of forward a buy into this round, and now they can't.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they have to sit one out, don't they? And that's actually really harsh if you look at some of their players. This is almost double save territory, and then all of a sudden, goes from a very dominant half to Rogue making it respectable and being maybe just a pistol round away from closing the gap. So, well done, Rogue, still clawing themselves to keep themselves alive in this one. 1 flashbang on Azza, 4 players over towards the A bomb site. The bomb is above drop so that I can actually head towards either site, depending on how impactful this hit is going to be. The flashbang has just been used. Hiko not aware of the pressure quite yet. Going to jump up. He's going to spot it out. He's dropping the smoke to keep himself alive. They try and turn into connector, but the weaponry just is not good enough. So Nifty with the bomb, nothing to do but go for a knife, perhaps, and pretty much just die. As Rogue obliges him. So 4-9, and the money's still not great for Renegades, although they can buy if they choose to.
Yeah, they're going to go for it, I guess. You know, there's neither a good... There's no good call there. You can either go for another eco so you can fully flesh out your buy into the next, or you can have kind of 2 forced buys. It just comes down to personal preference. Clearly, Renegades think that they can overpower Rogue with a weaker buy. You know, I'd hedge my bets and say that's something that we could see happen. Aggression over here at long. Going to get punished. So 6 been found early on by Ustilo. And that is pretty good, because now he's got himself a rifle, and they've got a very, very strong foothold over here towards B. Yeah,
there's actually no other defender in this site. Just now you can actually see the last 2 players, GMD and Cadian, starting to make their way over. GMD jumps down. They're blind. He gets both the kills. Renegades couldn't find him, but Jacob's still there. His teammates held off by flames, trying to get the plant down as he's covered. And Cadian, only 20 HP. He's got to wait for Hiko to get here. There are a few injured Renegades out there for Hiko to find, and it looks like they actually... They kind of have to go for this one. There's 1 kid on Hiko, and Cadian's going to lead the way, but Renegades, no one is peeking. They're waiting for the move out of Rogue, and this is so smart. Great kill from Jacob. That's Hiko, and Cadian with the AWP cannot possibly find all 3. Got to try and back away, but they're not even going to let him. Not even going to give him the opportunity. That's double digits for Renegades. Got to be a bit depressing for Rogue, as it was looking like they could have gotten up towards 6, but one more chance to at least get to 5.
Yeah, now Nifty has got the AWP. That's kind of one big difference in this round. As a result of winning the previous round, they go ahead and carry that forward. And double up set up bought out for Rogue. 6 got the other. Cadian holds the angle over here at long. He's got to actually be able to beat out Nifty. And Jake Essex, he's very, very weary that they're playing this double setup. That's something that Rogue have done almost every single round. This time they have abandoned that. They've just stuck Cadian here on his lonesome. Jake S creeping down through long. Cadian here and try and take the peek into mid with the AWP. GMD has been dropped in, dropped down. Suddenly there's a man in the back, and that's Azza. Gonna get picked up. That nade's very, very good from Hiko, but Cadian. Oh, this is tense. There we go. Gonna be able to find it, Jacob. Not long for this world. This Cadian polishes him off. Suddenly it's Ustillo and JKS left alive. 2 versus 4. 50 seconds on the clock. Cadian has been spotted by JKS, but he just is inclined to keep creeping up through mid instead. Ustillo looking dubious to try and go for this playing through long, and JKS has to check the closer angle here. There we go. Oh! He knows that Vice is here. There's one. Going to start to reroute back into the site now to help out Ustillo. Cadian shuts down a 3rd. He's onto the hat trick. He wants to try and lock in a 5th round. JKS left 1v3. And he burns out Cadian. 20 seconds on the clock. Rotation coming in from Sick. And Hiko, he has to buy time. His teammate is a long way away. And Hiko's going to win out the fight. Rogue will lock themselves in a 5th. 5-10 at the end of the first half. As Rogue managed to cement one there at the very end.
That was actually close. I actually felt like he was going to win that for a moment. Really nice attempt from JKS. Put himself in really good positioning. It was a shame Cadian just kind of moved out of his crosshair. Good positioning. But yeah, overall a good half. A good recovery from Rogue. It looked like they were just going to get bodied out of this. Nice force by win, as we've seen so many times. Kind of propels them to a small comeback. To give them those 5 rounds they could need in the second half. At least help them buffer and keep some space between a pistol round loss. It's a must-win map for Rogue here.
So one thing I've been thinking about, Jason, is, we're both traveling to IEM Sydney in a few days' time.
Yes.
And you've done a shoey before, and the one thing I've been really curious about is to what degree does it ruin your shoe?
I've actually never done shoe.
Oh, okay. Well, then there we go.
But as far as I know, it depends on the shoe. Obviously, if your device, you're not doing a shoe out of your Gucci shoes. Ultra Boost would probably be fine.
Well, because that's been my one worry. I just recently, I'm not gonna lie, I just recently splashed some cash on some new shoes. Oh, so's Hiko. He's running through mid. Look at him go, leading the charge. He's already found Nifty. We can put a pin in the shoey point. Here's Cadian. 6 gonna go to shut down another. JKS falls, and this round is very, very fast from Rogue. They are sprinting in towards this A bomb site, and Renegades, they've got nothing to answer back with. They've already lost 2 players. This retake feels a little bit hopeless. We're going to be hoping that someone can find something. They're going to go out through balcony. Cadian drops Azza. Jacob's able to find one, but that's it, and it is just Ustillo. 1v4. Oh, so many angles, so many players, and he will be polished off. 6-10. Rogue find that pistol round, and that's going to be them getting off to a good start here in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of a strategy helps so much when you get that first kill, especially that fast from Hiko. What a nice shot. And then you just continue the rush forward. Cadian is having a hell of a game. We mentioned that he was sick earlier in the game, as he tweeted out, but it does not seem to be bothering him too much right now.
Oh, he should get ill more often.
Yeah, he's leading the server.
This is probably one of the best performances we've seen from Cadian in these road games while he's not feeling too well. I would just, dose up on like a vaccine before every game. Why not?
A vaccine?
Yeah, because they just inject you with like a weakened version of the disease,
no,
right?
I understand what a vaccine is.
No, yeah, so I'm just saying, and because then that way you're just ticking them off as well.
Okay.
You can travel anywhere.
2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah, exactly, right? That's just quality. But Yeah, I mean, I was unvaccinated for the longest time. I'm just going to come out and say it. That was no fun. Whenever I traveled anywhere, there was an immediate risk of death.
Yeah?
Yeah, finally got all those sorted.
That's
I
good.
didn't fancy dying, Jason. You know.
Welcome to herd protection.
Yeah, no, it's good. Feels nice. But I tell you what, Rogue, they're actually looking quite threatening now. The pistol round under their belt, if they're able to convert this and then go ahead and take, what, an 8-10 scoreline, they're suddenly propelled back into this. They're going to find both players over here at B with very, very little effort put in. Jacob and Ustillo not really putting up too much of a fight.
That was a very weird setup. It felt like Jacob was supposed to take a shot that would bait them in towards Ustillo, but he wasn't posted up at the corner for that kind of an angle, so Rogue is able to clear Ustillo out with no problem. Sick. Down to 7 HP, or 25 HP, excuse me, but that's not going to matter too much, so yeah, it's going to be a nice nice conversion in the second round for Rogue as they build back up into this match. And again, you can bring it all back to the CZ round in the first half where they won at 7-0. Renegades could have had a pretty clean map if not for that.
See, I mean, like, I just think so much has happened, right, in the past few weeks when it comes to CS. There's been so much going on. Like, there's been roster changes, there's been map changes, there's been DreamHack Marseille. Jason, there's so much to talk about. I'm just kind of over, you know, our cup runneth over when it comes to decisions. But, I mean, I'm very excited to see Dust 2. I've been playing a lot of it in preparation for seeing it at IEM Sydney.
Okay.
You know, not that that's going to help too much. I just figure, you know, may as well learn the map again, even though it's kind of ingrained into my skull from thousands of hours played on it.
It is like the most popular map of any game ever created in video game history. Like they even like remade it for like Halo and Call of Duty and everything. So
yeah, no, I mean you love it, right? It's such a good map. Like everyone got a bit sick of it at one point in time, I think, because it was just so much dust. But now, you know, now it's been gone for a while. It's gonna be refreshing. Ooh, big yes, gonna be able to find one. But yeah, just a 3-on-3, just the USPs left. Not really expecting too much here. Rogue losing a few players isn't too great. But as long as they don't throw anything else away in this round, they should be fine. And, you know, I think when it comes to Dust 2 being included, one of the reasons why I think it's such a big talking point, right, is if you're a team like, I think NRG is such a good example, or even a team like Renegades, where it's like, you know, you're a team that's very much on the rise and can do damage to some of these, like, Tier 1 teams. Do you kind of think it might be an idea to get some early practice? You know, I kind of tweeted about this. I said, you know, try and find some goblin angles. And, you know, like, just the kind of worse, like, you know,
the nerdy angles.
Yeah, the kind of scummy angles just to go sit in. You know, try and find some of them. Try and find some stuff to mix things up, because there are a few subtle changes right on the new Dust.
Theoretically, yeah. We've seen a lot of teams actually pick up the new maps when they get rotated in, and they use that kind of springboard themselves up the standings, perhaps even artificially at times. But I don't think it's going to work with Dust 2 because everyone, you know, basically knows that map. And while they don't know this particular version perfectly, I think the learning curve, I think people are going to pick it up very, very quick as they remember some of the old tricks and old strategies. And yeah, there's going to be some new spots, but again, in this day and age, especially a map like Dust 2, like a lot of teams are going to be playing that map, so I don't think it'll be too much help the way like Nuke was. You know, there was that time where if you played Nuke early on, you know, one of the first teams to pick it up, you had a huge advantage in a lot of different ways. Either way, advantage for Rogue. They have a better purchase out on the board here on the offensive side of Cbble, and it is going to be an op on Nifty. That's nice to have, but Rogue's just going for the straight rush, running through the Molotov. Ustillo's going to handle the first one. That might just seal the round. Hard to make these work when you don't have the initial success on this offensive side. On this rush, flashbangs in the air. Ustillo going to build upon it. More half-blind players, and he's got himself 4 quick kills. It's just one left. Cadian for the ace is going to shut it down, but the damage is done, and Ustillo is a hero.
He is, and I always love it whenever he's having, you know, a good time. You know, that's kind of the thing. I think he's, yeah, I'm not gonna, yeah, I just think he's quite like an inconsistent player. But I think whenever he is doing well, normally that's when Renegades is kind of very, very solid. Because then you kind of have, you know, your core really, really stepping up. Tactical time called in for Rogue anyway. 8-11 is the scoreline right now. And I think justifiably so. They try and switch the pace up in that round. They try and go just rushing in towards the B-bomb site, and they get completely wrecked. So now a chance to try and just make sure everyone's on the same page, make sure that they have something up their sleeve. Of course, they are ecoing in the next round, I believe, if they lose this. So at which point, you kind of see Renegades start to crawl ahead and things become a lot harder for Rogue to get into. Whereas if they win this, now they kind of reset Renegades, and then you're in a very good spot to tie this up. So a big round for Rogue. They know the pressure, we know the pressure.
Big round for both teams, really. If they win this, they can springboard that into pretty much tying up the scoreline. So this could be huge if they want to make a comeback happen. Nifty is going to be towards the A bomb side at the moment with the AWP, but Rogue again, all 5 players here towards B. Heavy presence towards drop. It's going to be Azza who bears the brunt of this hit. This will be so difficult. They drop down. He sees so many bodies. He bails out to get the crossfire set up. Jacob inside the bomb site is in a tough spot. They hold him in. He sprays down 2, but they also find Azza, and Ustilo misses his timing, but he's got to get aggressive. They have the angle on him, though, from drop. Now it's Nifty's turn, risking it all to get outside of these double doors. GMD going to plant along the wall. And they can't really stop it. Actually, JKS could have, but he was kept honest by the possibility of the angle being held. One boost from GMD. Let's see, JKS, good headshot onto Hiko. Now is the play from Boost, and it's doubled. They line up for him. No one expecting it from Renegades, and there it is. It's the harsh reset.
I mean, yeah, truth be told, this is a real kind of high-pressure situation for Renegades now. There's only 2 rounds between them and Rogue, and I think, you know, if they kind of start letting some of these wins versus, you know, kind of the lesser... Experience is the wrong word, right? Because there is experience on this roster, but it's like, you know, the less kind of LAN-proven teams like Rogue start to slip by, then they, you know, because they're still in with a shot of actually not making it to the playoffs, I believe. They could still slip down that ladder if the rest of the guys start to rise up. Pretty exceptional kind of circumstances would have to happen.
Yeah, it would not be easy. I'm surprised Nifty didn't get that kill. He got the dink but couldn't finish it up. That might have made something possible. It's pretty much all over from here. Otherwise, they say that they've rushed out, and actually Jacob somehow gets 2. Picks up that MAC-10, but yeah, Azza has no idea Sick is here. Now he does, but he can't even handle Hiko, down to 8 HP. That was so close to being a possibility. Good attempt from Renegades. I think they're going to have to sit out 1 more, though.
Yeah, I mean, if you imagine, you know, if you're Nifty kind of sat back, that's a pretty gut-wrenching call to have to make. You know, just allowing Rogue to go 11-11, you'd imagine, and tie things up, or giving them a pretty decent chance at it. You got 2 smokes and 1 flash. Maybe we see them try something perhaps a bit more aggressive here, as they have 4 players over towards B. With the 2 smokes, they can just afford to kind of sit passively inside the B bomb site, try and hold this one out, and force them into the closer angles versus the pistol. One thing is Rogue do seem like a team who are very, very thorough and methodical. They don't go rushing into anything. You know, they take these rounds very, very slowly. They're very, very sure of the call before they commit to it. So they are just going to be waiting. 2 players outside of B, 3 aggressing in through this long angle. They got to check everything, leaving no stone unturned over here at long. Ustilo does get boosted up, and there's actually no one keeping an eye on it right now. So maybe that transpires into something. Even if he just pushes forward to get the information that no one's there, it could be a very, very big play.
I think it's going to happen soon enough. Even if it does. Rogue clearing everything out. I think the one big thing that could cause the rotation, it's got to happen soon, would be the fact that they haven't heard or felt any presence towards the B bomb site. And at this point, you can see the utility coming out. Just feels a bit too late. Vice is busted up a little bit, down to 47, but I mean the rest of Renegades is stuck behind these choke points. With the utility, that's nice timing from Ustilo. He could actually make a play coming from behind. He's going all the way around though. Might have been hurt. He was taken out, and JKS missing with the P250 isn't going to help anything. It's all tied up at 11 as Rogue has successfully made this comeback happen behind the hard work of Cadian. GMD has also jumped up there, and I mean I guess Vice and Hiko have as well. This is a solid performance from multiple players on Rogue.
Now we get this buy, though, from Renegades. Double upset, we're going to be coming on in Nifty and Ustilo. Picking this up. Ustilo not the usual culprit for gathering that secondary ult, but he can do it. Jacob's going to be holding close, and he's about to get tested. 6 already up and past the smoke, and Ustilo trying to hold down in that fort from Coop, but he doesn't spot the man who's crossed it. He's going to get caught just standing out in the open. Six found an entry. He's found them some leverage into the site, and now they look to try and capitalize on the back of this. Sick continuing to lead the way. Has gone past Jacob. He spotted him out. The flash saves his life, and Jacob, well, he's going to be quickly traded. Cadian drops one more, and suddenly it's Azza left to try and hold the fort. He falls, and Nifty has to save. 4 players surviving for Rogue, and that is ooh.
That's pretty crushing for Renegades. They're going to be in some trouble. He's holding the plant as long as possible. He wants them to get in a position to chase them down. Vice is going to be the first one up, and I think he's going to have a free kill onto Nifty, although Nifty might just get underneath him. Actually, Nifty might have just straight up hurt him. No, he's just looking that way in case, but it's going to be tough for him to save his weapon. Now he's pinching. As soon as they spot him, as soon as he takes a shot, someone's going to peek. And actually, no. Vice was actually coming down the ladder, but it won't matter. GMD does take the op away. They take everything away from Renegades. So it's back down to just around $3,000 for the defense per person, and that's not anything you can be too comfortable buying with. So Rogue take the lead for the first time in this game.
Yeah, indeed they do. And Renegades kind of not in a great spot to pull this back immediately. One of my reasons for putting them as the team that I thought would, you know, do so well and kind of lock in that top 3 spot is that I imagine they would win kind of 4 out of 6 of these games. 2-0 versus Rogue, 2-0 versus Dignitas, and then the SK one maybe a bit up in the air, but even then I think they could very easily take at least 1 map. But if they lose this, then suddenly that all gets called into question, right? Here's Jacob holding close. He doesn't want to give anything up, but he is going to go down. And Renegades, no one else inside the site, so Rogue get this for free. And at this point, if you're Renegades, you kind of consider just saving, not even bother, you know, running into the guns that are just going to be locking things down inside of B.
Listen, Renegades used to have a problem with, you know, choking under pressure and just not performing as well as they could in kind of high pressure situations. And I thought they'd kind of started to get over that. Might be seeing some of it here as they know more than anything that they're not secured for the playoffs, and this could be their playoff life on the line as well. So, not being able to handle Rogue at the moment, but they're doing a good job of taking some weapons away, forcing some fights out of these guys, and actually almost being able to build onto Sick. They've trapped a couple players inside the bomb site. Cadian and GMD are probably going to go down, especially JKS getting aggressive. That's a nice find. Well, I think they just got away in the nick of time. Nice escape from Rogue. Oz is able to grab the AK-47. Any little bit helps down the stretch here as they're down 2 rounds.
Pause called in for Renegades, and justifiably so. They have, I mean, they had a massive lead looking at the start this second half. They were up 10-5, if you remember, and suddenly it's 13-11 in favor of Rogue, and you're wondering where it all went so wrong for Renegades. It does feel like maybe the pressure's starting to get to them now. It's all encompassing, and very, very claustrophobic indeed over on this CT side. 2 rounds between them and Rogue. I'm curious to see what the money is. For the CT side, I don't think it's very good whatsoever. That kind of helped out by that 1 AK being saved. And yeah, they've got the AWP on Nifty, rifles across the board and everyone else. For Rogue, money is not a problem. 2 players over here in mid. JKS along with Nifty going to try and peek over the top of the smoke. JKS going through. He's gone through the smoke. No one's actually in a position to keep an eye on this, so he's got a decent bit of freedom and could win this fight versus GMD. Smoke going to start to fade, and GMD gets caught off guard. JKS, he's opened up. Man advantage gained early on for Renegades, and that's kind of forced Rogue's hand over here once again towards this B-bomb site. It's tried, it's tested, it's worked every time for Rogue. Can they get it for free this time around? They're going to start to go on in. Jacob holds from atop the tree. Eco and Sick on the entries, they double down. No trades coming through just yet from Renegades, and the pressure on. 3 on 3, both Azza and JKS still holding down the fort inside the site. JKS able to get 1. Trade goes through. 2 on 2, and Nifty and Azza versus Cadian and Hiko.
This is going to be so awkward. I can't believe Rogue has been able to fight themselves into this situation, into the 2 on 2. You can see them walking back as well. Don't want to give it up to the Renegades guys. It can be all down to timing. Actually, Rogue took so much damage from nades and Molotovs. Yeah, that B hit has been successful for them a number of times, but this time around, because of that push from JKS, Renegades knew what was coming. They had plenty of utility in the choke points, and actually no one from Renegades has moved. Neither of them have budged. They're gambling it's going to be just a return to this B bomb site, and they've lost this gamble. Cadian's going to be in great position to protect Hiko in the post plant, and he's going to have plenty of time to get into a new bomb site, or a new position as well. How does Renegades retake this? One kit onto Azza, but no utility to make their play. Cadian with the off angle. As long as he hits his initial shot, it should be comfortable. Jump out. Here's Cadian. There's the opening kill. Nifty with the op. Can't really do a whole lot. He's got to pick up the kit, and now they know where he is, and he's got to back away. Renegades once again turned back, and Rogue are going to get to 14.
Yeah, and this is sad to see for me, as you know, not only the Renegades fan, but also someone who picked them to kind of finish in that top 3 spot. They're currently down 3 rounds behind Rogue, 14-11, and they will be going for the buy here. That's one benefit of Nifty saving that AWP. He can drop up a rifle to Jacob. Mazza can buy one as a consequence of saving the AK in the round prior. JKS buys his own, and Yustillo is going to be on a UMP. So this buy, they've cobbled one together. Rogue, they are looking good. 4 rifles, an AWP on Cadian, and they've been winning every single fight they've taken. Even at man disadvantages, they've been able to haul their way back into rounds that they've been locked out on. Let's not forget, I mean, it's been a massive, what, 9-1 run in this second half from Rogue. Nifty. Ooh, he's going to get finished off. That is not a fight you want to lose. Vice able to open up. And Renegades now playing a man down. You really kind of start to feel suffocated in terms of what you can do in situations like this. They've been losing even with the man advantage. Now they've lost Nifty. JKS, the pressure's on. He's trying to haul things back. He has at least reclaimed that man advantage, 4-on-4. Azza's come to join him. He's going to get flashed back. They're already up and past him. Azza's let one slip by, and Six going to go to find a double. Maybe the triple as Yustillo is able to trade. Cadian's there to answer back, and now it's Jacob.
Jacob can actually win this, though. Cadian at such low HP, he's going to have to keep a lot of range, but actually he's just holding for that exact push. Rogue is up to map point. That is an impressive comeback. As you said, it's what, now a 10-1 run in the second half, which is just dirty to think about. This Renegades defense has fallen flat. They've got no answers, and now they've got a Rogue offense that's just fueled by so much economy. Cadian was at 16K before he buys up, and look at what Renegades have to fight with. A Scout, a FAMAS, a UMP, running low on nades, no kits whatsoever. It's desperate times. Nifty goes hunting, and he does find the tag, but he finds a headshot in return as well.
This is such a big map for Rogue to win, especially if, you know, they can carry this forward into the second, this momentum that they've gained.
Turns into squeaky bum time.
It definitely does. Flash goes out for Sig. Okay. Oh, Sig's good. 2 big kills, and he had a very, very quiet first half, but on this T side, he's been an absolute fiend. He wants to try and get more work done. Azza's here, and Sick will fall at least. They're trying to repel Rogue back from B. Azza sends them away. Uh-oh, now he don't have a gun. Things get a bit tricky. He's able to find himself an AK. Keeps progressing. The bomb's rotated away. Vice down in drop. Leaves the pressure onto JKS instead. It's 45 seconds. They could even elect to leave this A bomb site and head back towards B. JKS, weight of the world on his shoulders, and that weight is too much to bear. Rogue, they're going to win this out 16-11 on Cobblestone. It was a 10-5 half in favor of Renegades. And Rogue, they managed to haul it back in the second half. A very, very dominant performance the second they get onto that T side. Massive step up, especially from Sick on an individual level. He had a very, very quiet first half. He was bottom of the board. And, you know, in the second half, so many of these rounds were just coming down to him, winning these entries, winning the openers. And just like that, Rogue, they're going to go 1-0 up in this series.
Yeah, really nicely done from Rogue. We'll see if they can continue it into the second map. They needed to make the playoffs, so stay tuned, and we'll be right after the break.